tell you some fun stories and where I've ended up. If you like the video and are enjoying our channel, please give us a like. Please subscribe. It helps us so much to be able to bring these videos back to you and relax you. And if you are enjoying all the content we've been putting out, then hit the bell and it'll help you to be notified when we start putting up more videos. We're looking to put up more videos more consistently, and we've been able to keep that schedule up for this week at least, and we look to keep doing that in the future. So thank you for all of your support. I am 24, turning 25 very soon, and I've been working technically since I was maybe in elementary school or middle school, if you consider paper routes and the fact that I was more so helping my sister. But my very first job was really my sister's job. She had a paper route, and my parents thought it necessary that because she had so many papers to deliver and they were right by our house, that at the end of every week, me and her would take a wagon, put all the newspapers in that wagon. I would take one side of the street, she would take the other, and we would deliver papers to a neighborhood right near us. I hated it, obviously, because if I recall, my parents would treat me, and I'm sure I must have gotten some sort of payment for helping my sister out, but I don't ever really remember that. I just remember my sister getting a paycheck from that job and me just being a necessary help. But it would take us like a couple hours. Looking back at it, I think now I could probably deliver every single one of those papers to every single one of those houses in 30 minutes alone. But I think the fact that it was me and my sister both in like elementary school or middle school, whenever this was, it took us, it basically took the night that we had. So my second job was one summer. Again, my sister and I, we worked at the newspaper plant, but it wasn't a paper route. We were in the back, folding up the newspapers with the flyers, with everything that the newspaper came with, and putting them into the plastic bags that then the people with the paper route would get these big boxes of all these papers that were already in the bags, and you would just toss that whole bundle onto the front step. And so for a summer, my sister and I would spend our days just packaging up all the newspapers. My next job after that, I was in high school, and a neighbor down my street, they had a young daughter who needed to be babysat. And so what I would do was I was sort of a caretaker of their home while simultaneously babysitting their daughter. So they would, I believe they were both on like a council of the town or something like that. But for whatever reason, every now and again they would be out for most of the night, and I would come over and I would clean. I sometimes mowed their lawn. They were a very healthy family, and so they actually made a lot of food with pomegranate seeds. I remember I used to have a few pomegranates that I would slice and pick out the seeds into a bowl, and just also as well as babysit their daughter and make sure she got to bed, and just keep the house clean and safe. Now that I'm like going through it, I'm realizing just how many odds and end jobs I had growing up. one summer, and I only did this maybe a few weekends. I think I only did like 4 weekends, but I worked at a bottle depot. We had a bottle depot where you would bring all of your empty bottles, your pop bottles, water bottles, milk jugs, anything really that had a beverage in it. You would bring it down to the bottle depot, lay it out on a table, and a worker there would count them out and, organize everything that you had. This number of this, number of that. And for every bottle or can that you had that was, say, under a liter, over a liter, you would get a certain amount of money for each of those bottles. So they would count and organize everything and then give you a ticket that showed how much money you got in return for those empty bottles. So I worked a few weekends there where I would count and organize the bottles and bring them back. And then I graduated high school and I became a big boy and got my first real on paper, taxes and everything job. I applied at a Boston Pizza. Now, originally, I wanted to be a server. And in fact, I had spent quite a bit of money and time taking an online course to get my ProServe. I passed on the first try and walked down to Boston Pizza, showed them my ProServe, applied as a waiter, and they said no. They didn't need servers. They needed cooks. I figured I needed a job, so what the hell? So I took the job as a cook. And that was my first, I'd say, big boy job. I was a cook at Boston Pizza. I was sort of a jack of all trades of very small, minute things. I was a dishwasher. I was a prep cook. I was the guy that came in early mornings and cleaned the oven. I had to use a plunger on a toilet in the women's washroom. Lots of small scale things. And there was only 4 of us at a time. We weren't very busy. And 4 stations, so we would all have our things to prep. Each have our own station that if an order came in, we would take care of, and it actually ran quite smoothly. I remember the days being long, but looking back at it, we had a lot of fun just putting on some music, all chatting about our lives and just putting our head down and doing our work. So I did enjoy my job there, but I was only there for a good 6 months or so. And then I decided to move to Toronto. And I was so overwhelmed by the big city of Toronto that I wanted something that I was familiar with. So I found the closest Boston Pizza to me. And I applied as a cook. And they took me on. And the rest was history for that job, really. I worked there for 2 years. I started again as a prep cook and slowly but surely made my way up to assistant general manager. No, incorrect. I slowly made my way up to assistant kitchen manager. I was the main closer. I ran this place and we got busy. Like very busy due to the Blue Jays. I got swamped. That job really beat me up. And I eventually had to quit because I was moving to Singapore because of my other job that I had at the time in Toronto. I became a male model. 1 month after moving to Toronto, I was at my sister's birthday party, and a man walked up to me and said, "Would you mind doing a photo shoot for me? We have a spot that we could potentially fill for a magazine, and I'd like to do a shoot for you to see if we can use you." About a week later, I did the photo shoot, and they liked me. They had a spot filled for me, and I was able to be in that magazine, and it got published in the UK. A month after that, I met with my agent, and yeah, he did a test photo shoot with me to see if I would work. He liked me, he took me on, and I've done many very cool experiences with modeling. I started off doing a bunch of runways. After doing those runways, my dad contacted the local newspaper in my hometown and told them the story and was able to get me published in the newspaper with doing my runways. I had done a Hakeem Optical photo shoot that got posted at the side of a store, as well as that got me a commercial with Hakeem Optical, which I talk about too in my 50 fun facts about me video. So if you haven't seen that video, please check it out. I think the coolest job that I did was I worked for MAC Cosmetics. I played Spock in a Star Trek makeup line. And of course, I moved to Singapore for a month and a half on a modeling contract. And that was why I had to quit Boston Pizza. And actually, just after Singapore was about when I had ended doing the modeling. And so when I got back to Toronto, I was jobless. I had just met Hayley, and I realized I needed to pay rent and pay for dates. So I immediately went out and just got another kitchen job, something I knew I could do. And I ended up at a Landing. It's a chain of restaurants in Toronto and the Toronto area that are owned by Recipe. And a lot of people there became like very close family to me. I still keep in contact with some of them. I worked there for 2 years, and I just worked one station for 2 years, and then realized it was time to kind of give up on acting and modeling and stuff like that, and actually go forward in my career. So I met with a career counselor, and we went through all these tests and discussions of what I should do, and we landed on firefighter. And my brother had trained as a firefighter for the military. I have a cousin who was a firefighter, and I decided that this might actually be a good branch for me to take. So I went and met with a firefighter, discussed with him, I had actually gone down to the station and met with an actual on-duty firefighter and discussed what I could do to make it easier to become a firefighter. What courses should I take? What training should I do? And one of the courses he recommended to me was an electrician's course. And so I looked into all these different training courses that he offered me, and I looked into the electrical course and found that I could actually go to college and do a pre-apprenticeship program as an electrician. I signed up, made my way through college, got honors, which is also something I mentioned in the 50 fun facts about me. Please go check it out. And after I had finished college, having worked / gone to school for 7 days a week for 6 months, I graduated. I called up different contractors for about a month and eventually got to where I am today. I'm an apprentice in a small company. I started with them part-time while doing part-time at my kitchen, and maybe 5 months, 6 months into doing that part-time, they took me on full-time. Of course, I will move on to becoming a licensed electrician and seeing what I decide to do with this career, but as of right now, the future looks like I found my spot. So thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you got a little insight into my life and showed people that if you want to try and find the right career or the right path, that it's very easy to try different things and divert and eventually find happiness if you don't already have happiness where you are. I hope I relaxed you. I hope I entertained you. And at the end of the day, I hope sleep was granted. Thank you for joining me, and we will see you on the next video. Bye.